Hey there, Dave Brennan with American Pinball. Today I'm going over skill shots on pinball machines that use a manual shooter rod. Really, this can be used on any pinball machine, but today I'm going to show this example using Oktoberfest because this game has several skill shots that you can achieve on the plunge of a ball. So let me zoom in here and I'll show you some of the tips that you can use to improve this shot. Let's first take a look at the shooter tip alignment relative to the shooter lane. If you lean forward and push in on the shooter rod, you can see how this tip aligns with the slot in the shooter lane. It's critical that this does not contact the auto kicker metal bracket to the left and right. This needs to go in the center of that. If it catches, that's going to decrease the amount of kinetic energy that the shooter rod has. Also, the shooter rod needs to contact the ball square in the center. If you've ever played a game of pool, you know that shooting the ball directly in the center gives you the most amount of kinetic energy to the ball. To review this, you can open the coin door, locate the trough plunger, and flip a ball into the shooter lane. From here, you can see that the ball is not centered on this particular example. So now I'm going to lift the playfield and show you how you can adjust this. To adjust the shooter rod alignment relative to the shooter lane, you really need to move the entire assembly over a little bit to center that up. It's easiest to do this with the shooter rod removed. So to do this, all you do is slide the spring back. You'll notice a C-clip at the end in a channel in the shooter rod. You'll need to pull that off, and then you need to pull off the rubber tip, and then the spring and everything will come off. Now you can slide the whole rod out and set that off to the side. Now that your shooter rod is removed, you can easily get at the 3 screws that hold the shooter rod assembly. You can loosen these with a 5/16 nut driver. Once those are loosened, you can move this whole assembly around so you can get it lined up and centered with the shooter lane. Once you have it where you think it's going to be centered up, snug it up a little bit, and then you can put your shooter rod back into the housing, lower the playfield, and make sure that it's centered. While I'm in here, I'm going to show you that the housing actually has a nylon sleeve on the inside. This is a wear part, just like any other plunger coil, but it's a smaller diameter. Over time, this will get dirty and will contribute to the shooter rod not sliding easily in and out. So you can clean this up with a Q-tip and a little bit of alcohol, or you can buy replacements of these. Now let's talk about shooter rod assemblies. This is made up of the shooter tip, a C-clip, a washer, the shooter spring, another washer, the barrel spring, and then the shooter rod itself. Let's focus in on the shooter spring. There are several different colors for the tension that this spring offers. Blue is the lightest one, and then it goes up to green, and then the standard is silver, then orange, purple, gray, and then red for various stiffness. But if you want to add a little bit more stiffness to your existing spring, the cheap way of doing it is just, you can either get a ruler or you can mark on your table where your spring is at and then stretch the spring out to add maybe like another inch to your spring. This will add some tension to it. And then you can reinstall that on your shooter rod and try it in your game to get a little bit more oomph out of your spring. Next, I'm going to talk about the shooter rod itself. Earlier we talked about the nylon sleeve. that is in the shooter rod housing. Well, you can also polish this up so this slides a lot smoother through that nylon sleeve. You can take some metal polish, doesn't necessarily matter which brand you get, but you can take this and some steel wool, and then take, if you have a cordless drill, you can chuck this in your drill and then spin this with the metal polish. And then clean it off with a rag. Now you can put this back in your game and it should be super smooth.